What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. And the New York Mets win on the 4th of July, 6-5 over the New York Yankees, thanks to Juan Soto, Jeff McNeil, and this offense leading the charge. And it's not very often that we've got to say this season the offense actually is making an impact and actually leading this team to a victory. Because if you were listening to the post game yesterday, if you listened to the podcast from earlier today, which I recommend listening to, even though we're talking about the series coming up here in that podcast and recapping the Milwaukee series, which is kind of in the rearview mirror. I recommend listening to it because either way, it's still a good episode. But yeah, we were talking about how yesterday's win was great. It was nice to see them get the win. And both these games that they won against the Brewers, it was nice to see them get the wins. But with the first game that they won against Milwaukee, I wanted to see the offense carried over because part of me was still feeling about the offense because of the fact that they kind of scored in bunches in that game, but it was off Mizorowski, so I didn't complain too much. But yesterday, they were really led by the pitching staff in that win. So I want to see them start to produce offensively. And today was one of those games where they showed up offensively because Juan Soto absolutely just kicking his former team in the damn nutsack, having them on the ground screaming. And like that kick to the nuts was so bad today. And I loved it. And then you have Brett Beatty getting involved, Jeff McNeil offensively in the field, making an impact today. And then this pitching staff, I did not know how they were going to formulate the 27 outs today. I had no clue if they were going to be able to get the win today because of the fact that you had Edwin Diaz unavailable, you had Ryan Stanek unavailable, Jose Budo went on the IL. So I had no clue how this team was going to get their 27 outs today. But they ended up getting it. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't clean the way they got the 27 outs, but they end up getting the job done. And that's what matters. Before we jump into everything, I ask that you please leave a like on your way in, or if you're watching on replay, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, especially if you're Met fans, to turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on Met Central. This was a game where the offense had to thrive either way. Because when you look on the other side, and you see Marcus Stroman is lined up on the other side, there is no excuse to not annihilate him. And I wish they got a little more damage done off him. Like there were times they had him on the ropes, and if I'm really going to nitpick here, I would have liked a little bit more out of the offense against him because again, there were opportunities there, but you have just some piss poor base running at certain points in this game as well. Granted, that was with the bullpen in, which we'll talk about that one from Ronnie Mauricio. But either way, I would have maybe liked a bit more, but you got him out of the game early and you jumped on him early enough in the game to where it put this team in a spot to win. And I was not feeling good, obviously, at the start of this game because you get the back-to-back home runs from Dominguez and Judge, which, first of all, why are you even pitching to Aaron Judge? Second of all, I felt like, okay, well, Justin Hageman, you really need him to go at minimum 4 innings. Are you even going to get that with the way that he was throwing the rock? Because he's throwing a sinker right in Aaron Judge's wheelhouse. He's leaving one right in an easy part of the plate for Jason Dominguez to tank one. Gets the next 3 outs. And in the bottom of the first, the Mets did something that we have not seen enough of this season. And I was glad to see it. A good response after that as well. Because there are too many times where I want to see them go punch for punch. And then they did that in the bottom of the first because Brandon Nimmo gets a leadoff double. Lindor grounds out, moves the runner over, and Juan Soto hits a home run to tie the game up at 2. Just sending a high cutter to the opposite field. Beautiful to see. Ties the game up at 2. And the Mets, again, they had an opportunity to really jump on Stroman because Alonso pops out. McNeil gets hit by a pitch. Torrens singles. And you had an opportunity, I felt like, to really, really just punch them early. And Brett Beatty grounds out on a cutter. Top of the second inning, a huge 1-2-3 inning for Hageman, who needed a bounce back inning. And he got two straight innings that way. Bottom of the third inning, Juan Soto gets a double with 1 out, and then Pete Alonso drives him in with a single to make it 3-2. But then in the fourth inning, Cody Bellinger responds with a home run to tie the game up at 3. Not where you want to leave a cut here. And we'll talk about we'll talk about the fifth inning now, because I mean, in the bottom of the fourth, Beatty got on with a single, Mauricio hit into a double play, Taylor walked, and again, missed opportunity I felt there. Then the fifth inning, Volpe flies out, LeMahieu gets a single, which that can happen. Hageman couldn't allow that single there. And again, I get that he's here in a pinch, you need outs, but you can't allow a single to DJ LeMahieu. And then Austin Warren comes in, and Jason Dominguez, I have no clue how this left the yard with the swing that he had on this, but he ends up getting a home run, his second of the day, to make it 5-3, which, by the way, I forgot to say thank you to him for misplaying that ball on the Brandon Nimmo double in the first inning of the game. I don't know why I forgot to bring that up, but both of these teams played some sloppy defense today, made some sloppy decisions. And on top of that, holy crap, did this umpire suck. This umpire, garbage for both sides. And it was painful to watch, because there were some pitches that were just so far out of the zone that they're calling a ball on some and then calling a strike on some. The managers both were pissed off, and rightfully so, because the umpire today was just completely garbage. But I digress. Warren, I thought, was going to just stink it up, because then he allows a single to Judge. He walks Stanton, but he gets out of the inning with a strikeout. And then in fast forward to the bottom of the sixth, Torrens flies out. Brett Beatty with a home run to make it a 5-4 game off of Ian Hamilton. Thank goodness he was able to hit a slider that hung right down the middle of the plate. And then again, you had an opportunity to pounce, because Ronnie Mauricio gets a single, Taylor flies out, and I don't want to hear any excuses for this. I'm sorry. And again, I know they won. I don't want to sit here and complain and harp on this too much. But Tim Hill comes in. Nimmo hits into a fielder's choice. The throw was high. Why did Mauricio just automatically assume the ball was in the outfield? I don't understand that. I don't understand why he just assumed it was in the outfield, because he's running and then he looks back and it's like, oh crap, the ball's not in the outfield. He tries to get back to the bag. And is the third base coach not signaling to him that the ball's not in the outfield grass? And even if it was, the throw was probably backed up anyway. So why are you going in the first place? I don't know. Just dumb base running. And honestly, I thought that might cost the Mets the game there. In the moment, I'm like, we are going to have to remember that as what cost the game. But Brazoban comes in, and Brazoban just was disgusting today. That filthy changeup, getting LeMahieu, getting Judge, especially the one on Judge, was just filthy. Gets Bellinger. They must have not done the scouting report. And then with 2 outs in the bottom of the seventh, Luke Weaver comes in. He walks Alonso, no control, and that the second pitch of that at bat that they called a strike. Again, the umpires were garbage for both ends, but just stupid. And then Jeff McNeil ends up getting a low changeup, and he gets a hold of it, sends it to the Coca-Cola corner to make it a 6-5 game. And then Reed Garrett, major credit to him, because he has not been great as of lately. He ends up getting a 6-out save when this bullpen needed it ever so desperately. And credit to Jeff McNeil for the play that he made on DJ LeMahieu, because right then and there, I'm like, we're going to have to see Judge. Like, off the bat, I'm like, I don't know if even if McNeil keeps us in the infield, I don't know if he's making the play. And he ended up making it, which was really nice to see, because then you didn't have to face Judge another time. And that's where I would have got worried about this game going south. But major credit to Reed Garrett, who needed that type of bounce back performance and gets that 6-out save, looking like the pitcher that we saw in April and May. And they're going to need it going forward from him, because this bullpen, I cannot stress enough how taxed it already is. They need Reed Garrett more than ever to pitch the way that he did earlier on in the season. to be in the circle of trust with Diaz, and then hopefully Stanek earns his way back into the circle of trust. So you actually have a circle of trust to begin with, because right now it's just a one-man show there. So major credit to him, major credit to Brazaban, major credit to Warren even, and then even Hagenman too, which I don't love him allowing that many home runs in a short span, but I'm thankful that he was able to eat the innings he did. It looked like for a minute maybe you were going to get 5 out of him, and that would have been really ideal for this team to get 5 innings out of him. But unfortunately, that was just not the case there. But either way, they still won the game. And again, this offense giving a performance that we have not seen them real. It's rare that we see them give these kind of performances where they pick the weight off the pitcher's backs. Because that Juan Soto, 3 for 4 today. Beautiful. Brett Beatty had a multi-hit game after being hitless in his past 13 at-bats, I think they said on the broadcast. And then just some timely hits from Alonso, from McNeil, when they needed it most. Because something else that I've complained about a lot, they don't get the timely hits. Like these guys individually, they might get hits throughout the game. Where are the timely hits? Today you got that. Let's hope they build on that, because it's not going to be easy with the pitchers coming up. You got to face Rodon. You got to face Max Fried, which I'm worried about that one as well. I don't like facing Max Fried. So, important stuff. Important stuff to get on track here. So let me see what you guys are saying, though, in the chat right now. Your thoughts, your opinions on this baseball game. But I'm happy to see this team put together a 3-game win streak now. And now they have 51 wins with the Phillies. They're half a game back because the Phillies still have a game in hand on them. But it's nice to see them actually get back on track, despite the skid, still be in the upper part of the division right now, which they're still going to have to do more to win me back over personally going forward. And again, I hate to be that way, but it's just the truth. But, they beat the Yankees, and then maybe you take care of business against Baltimore like you should. All of a sudden, I'm feeling better than I was even just 4 days ago, 5 days ago, whatever it was, whenever they played the Pirates last. I'm feeling better than I did then. But you got to take care of business. You already took one against the Yankees. Go out and win a series. Just win each series going into the All-Star break, and I'm feeling better. Jefferson McNeil making the country proud. Yes. And no, Soto did not look happy. He looked like he wanted to be on the other side today. Michael K. Investigate that one. Yeah, you and I both right. I'm getting reeled back in, but I still need to see. I still got to see more, unfortunately. But again, it's nice to actually talk about this team in a positive manner as of right now, because again, I was feeling really down in the dumps after that Pirate series. I was starting to think, okay, this might not even be a cold stretch anymore. Like they might be. I wasn't even thinking might actually. I was saying this is just who they are. They might be a worse team than we thought and what we saw in the early parts of the season. And I thought there would be a middle ground there, but I was starting to think, like, are they this bad? Like, did they fool us early on? Like, is this going to be 2021 all over again? And yeah, I would agree that that was definitely one of the better wins of the season. And it's beyond it being the Yankees, by the way. It's because of the fact that just the back and forth action in this game as well, and the Mets offense actually showing a sack for once. Yeah, we gotta see how Montas does tomorrow. That's gonna tell a lot. They need Montas to give volume because I can tell you right now, I don't know how Sunday's gonna fare between Max Fried pitching for the Yankees and who knows who's pitching for the Mets on Sunday. Is it Brandon Waddell? Are they going to call up Sproat, which there was rumors about? So Montas has a lot of pressure on him tomorrow. Yeah, he has to give a good start, and at least Stanek and Diaz should be available. Um, yeah, hopefully they can avoid both of them, but at least they are available if you need them. But obviously, it goes without saying. Probably your favorite win so far of the season. I'd have to think about that one. Favorite win so far of the season. Hmm. There was a couple of games against the Cardinals in that homestand that I really enjoyed. The home opener, obviously, was fun. Couple games against the Phillies, but this one's up there. And yeah, I mean, Brosbon and Garrett definitely do get their flowers, 100%, 1,000,000%. Especially Garrett, who gives a 6-out save when you need it most. Because if they had to go to Rich Lovelady, which no offense to Rich Lovelady, but I would have been worried. I imagine if it got to that point where they had to, they would have walked Judge and then had him face Bellinger to get the final out, ideally. But I got worried that I was going to get to that point because, unfortunately, Reed Garrett has not been sharp lately. But just again, huge performance from him. I can't stress enough how good he was today and how much they needed those 6 outs from him. Sproat pitch for Syracuse today. Okay, I don't know where that rumor was coming from then. So unless something changes, it's going to be Waddell. I'd imagine they call up someone else to eat some bulk innings. I do wonder. I'm trying to think who else maybe they could call up to. I mean, are they just going to go to a reliever like Justin Garza or Ty Adcock? Because Blade's probably not going to be ready to go by Sunday. Maybe Blade will. Maybe Blade will be ready. I'd have to remember how many pitches he threw on Wednesday, but that was also the night. He might not be available. He might not. How many pitches did Blade throw? If I could find it. 80 pitches. Yeah, he's not going to be ready to go. That's a good thing to think about, though. Who could it be? Unless there's a prospect that might come up and we get surprised. Maybe. Believe me, I respect Mr. Lovelady, but I also didn't want to see him in this game. No, like again, you know. How about McLean? I don't think that's. I think he pitched yesterday. He pitched yesterday, so he's not going to be good to go. Let's take a look at the Syracuse Mets rotation here. Let's take a look at who is scheduled to pitch coming up. Yeah, Sproat's pitching right now down there. See, this is the thing. It's so annoying to navigate this. I just want to see the pitching matchup that's going on. There we go. That's what I wanted. All right, let's see. Who's scheduled to pitch on Sunday for Syracuse that might get scratched unless they don't play? Here we go. Syracuse Mets. They don't have a pitcher scheduled, it looks like. So who knows? I'd have to look at how that rotation is lined up. I mean, let me go back to some of their earlier games. I don't know why I'm digging up this much, but here I am. Let's see who could be an option. Sproat pitched that game. McLean pitched that one, so it would have to be the game before. Who started that? Rico Garcia did. So maybe it's that. I don't know. Or Dom Hamill maybe comes up to 8 innings. I don't know. I have no idea which way they're going to go about it. I really don't. But we'll find out. We will see. Hopefully they can get the win tomorrow to where they get the win tomorrow, and then it doesn't really matter as much what happens on Sunday afternoon. So let's hope for that. But thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live, and I'll see you guys in the next one.